This is Creative Love Radio, episode number 27. And we're going to talk about why being single doesn't mean that you're broken and how actually you are at the best place in your life to find true love. Welcome to Creative Love Radio with Debbie and Dr. Rob. We are redefining relationships to guide you to greater love, more success, and living your purpose through the latest research in neuroscience, Jungian psychology, and Eastern wisdom. Get ready for another inspirational episode of Creative Love Radio. Okay, episode number 27. Single doesn't mean that you're broken. And if you heard us say that before, we're going to explain to you why. And I'm Debbie Maldonado, and I'm here with my partner, Dr. Rob. And we are going to dive deep into the shift that's happening in our culture and around the world about marriage, talk about some statistics, and we are going to inspire you to find great love without feeling bad about being single anymore. But before we begin, I want to invite you to join me for a special video series. It's absolutely free. All you need to do is go to attractreallove.com, attractreallove.com, and you can sign up for these videos. And I'm going to take you through a process and a visualization to help you uncover what is in the way of you having the love you really want and having it all. So enjoy that. Okay, Rob. What do you think? Is single is not as a big a stigma anymore?
Well, it's about time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we've been talking about this paradigm shift for a while now. And it's great to see validation through research coming out now. These articles that you're going to read, where are they from?
Actually, a CNN article, "There's never been a better time to be single." One of the main quotes, the first quotes they say is, "Marriage is a healthy estate." This is from British physician William Farr, who wrote this in 1858. He said the single individual is more likely to be wrecked on his voyage than the lives joined in matrimony. And we can see that attitudes have changed, but deep within us, we do have this narrative that somehow life is better when you're married.
Yeah. It reminds me of one of my old professors used to say that marriage is a great institution. And that love is blind. And so, but marriage is an institution for the blind.
Oh,
Bad joke, but
yeah.
But things have changed. Recently we've seen all over the world, not only in the U.S. or industrialized countries, but all over the planet, new attitudes, new ways of being a family, new ways of being a couple. Mm-hmm. People live together now. People marry transgender, same gender, all kinds of different combinations. Families are not just the mom and dad and the 0.25 kids and the dog, but you have blended families that are really very creative ways of being a family, and the definition has changed.
Well, the definition of single people too, because now, in 2014 was the first year in the U.S. where the single adults outnumbered the married adults. So there was like the first shift.
Right.
So over the past 3 or 4 years, it's been more people are staying single. People are getting married later than they used to. I remember when I first started doing, even 10 years ago, the median age when I was doing the research for Let Love In was like 23 or 24 for women. It's up to 27 now for women. So 3 years, 10 years later, people are getting married even 3 years. And that's a lot for just a short amount of time. So we're getting married later, where some people are not getting married at all. People are living alone more often. And I found what I thought was very interesting is that they interviewed people about marriage and what they thought about it. And 55% in the Census Bureau in 2017 said that marriage is no longer considered a key part of adulthood. They don't think that marriage is actually that holy grail that it used to be.
Right.
And I remember growing up, and that's all I thought was in my little community, in my world, in my family, was all about the woman when she gets married, then she's a success.
Right. You finish high school and you get married, or you go to college and then you get married. And it was basically the life plan that everyone followed.
Mm-hmm. And we have this idea that, well, when you're married, you're more stable. There's even research about self-esteem, and that they said that, a lot of people believe that if you had a marriage, if you were married, you would have higher self-esteem, that it would increase your self-esteem. And they did research in Germany, and it turned out that out of 9,000 adults they researched, that the people that found, a long-term relationship that was stable and it lasted and it was well balanced, yes, their self-esteem went up. But for most people, the single people that were in short-term relationships and then it ended, actually had lower self-esteem than someone who just remained single. So that points to the question is, marriage doesn't automatically make you more self-loving, but you bring yourself to that marriage.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, self-esteem, we can think of it in two ways, right? We gain self-esteem from what others think of us. Mm-hmm. So that feedback that we get from society and from our peers. But the other way is that we set goals for ourselves and we see that we accomplish those goals. That feeds our self-esteem. So obviously people are now depending on this other way, this latter form of gaining self-esteem, which is setting goals for themselves and saying, yeah, I can reach those goals. And they see that they can.
Well, and I remember just the idea that I set a goal to be married by the time I was 25, which obviously I did not.
That was your my self-esteem goal?
That was my first goal. When I was 23, I was in 5 weddings. I was a bridesmaid in 5 weddings. And every one of the brides called my name out when it was time to toss the bouquet, because I was the, the identified patient in the group of the single person that needs to be fixed.
So they pitched it at you?
They pitched it directly at me.
And did you catch it?
I caught 5 bouquets that year. I could tell you it does not work. But that idea that I reached 25 and I remember feeling like I failed. Yeah. That I failed myself and there's something wrong. And really that's why I'm so passionate about this topic, because you can't find love if you feel like you're already broken. You feel like if I just, like that person's going to bring something to you that you don't have. Yeah. And I'm so glad that the society's shifting their attitude around singleness. But the problem is that we still unconsciously carry those old beliefs.
Right. Let's say societal trends tend to move faster than our biology and even our psychology, our ability to adapt to those changes. And so if you look at, especially this is confirmed in our work, really, when we work with people around relationship issues, a lot of what's unconscious in them, and they're not even aware, they might think, I'm adapting well to what's going on and I love it. But unconsciously, there's a tendency to hold on to those conditioned assumptions and beliefs that our family had and our culture had. Mm-hmm. And so there's a mismatch. And that mismatch is what it kind of puts people in that bind that they think there's something wrong with me. Mm-hmm. Even if they're not conscious of it, there's an assumption that, if all my friends are getting married and I'm not, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm. Right? I'm the one that no one wants. Yeah. We feel that, or no one wants to stick with. And here's the double-edged sword that I experienced when I was single, and a lot of people that I spoke to, thousands of people over the years, and I hear this story over and over, so I know it's not just me. But they do personal development, and then with the personal development or the dating tips, what they do is they reinforce that idea that something's wrong with you. You have childhood wounds that you need to heal. You have a broken inner child and you need to heal her, and you have bad energy and you need to clear your energy, and you have blocks to love, and there's something off in you that is why you're single. And it really disempowering and defeating, and you already have this baggage in your mind thinking, all right, I'm single already, I didn't get married, so that's one. And then everyone else telling you how to fix it is saying, well, you're broken, that's why. So they're reinforcing it. And that's why what we teach is that you're not broken. What's happening is you're just not conscious of this mismatch. And I actually think that if you haven't settled for marriage, that you're one of those top 1 or 2% of the population that is ripe for individuation, that you're really a higher potential. You understand that you want more than just the average, what the average person wants. You want more. So you haven't settled. So there's that conflict between that divine in you that says, yes, I want to have the greatest love. I want to be physically attracted. I want to have a peer, a husband or a wife that matches my own dreams and want to live our purpose and connects on a spiritual level. And then you have the society telling you, you can't have it all.
Right,
you got to settle. You're not going to, a lot of my friends said, Debbie, you probably won't be attracted to your guy, but you'll fall in love with him. And then you'll learn to be more attracted to him. And they're all told me all the time, I really wasn't attracted to my husband when I met him. And I was like, is that all I have? Is that all I get is I got to settle? And I'm sure a lot of you hear it. And I want you all to know that you are, because you haven't settled, that there is something right about you.
Yeah, I want to go back to something you said, which is that the personal development industry has propagated this idea that there's something wrong with you. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm wondering, do you think people are doing that consciously, or is it just out of laziness or out of, I don't know, that they don't have anything else to offer people? But it sounds pretty malicious to me that they would, kind of use this idea against people in a sense to keep them in that brokenness and fixing mindset. Well,
I don't think it's intentional. I think that there just needs to be education or a new. We need to get our book published sooner than later to change the narrative. And I think the narrative needs to change. But I remember being a hypnotherapist, it was all about that. It was all about rewiring. And I really had good intentions as a hypnotherapist to change your negative beliefs to positive. And even I used to do energy work back in the day and clearing the negative energy. And I really wanted to help people. But, I do remember being on the phone with some of my clients early in the practice and having them cry and say, what is wrong? You keep telling me there's something inside of me that has to be cleared. And it made them, and I felt the same. I felt like I'm not really helping this person by telling them that there's something wrong. And it really sparked something inside of me, because I knew that I didn't find you because I fixed something inside of me. What I did was I really understood who I really was versus try to repair something.
Yeah.
And when you and I started talking about Jungian psychology after we met, I said, this is it. This is the missing piece, because there's not many people that go that deep and talk about what is really going on in the psyche from the point of individuation. And Jung talks about this as you're becoming your true self. You're basically, your past is that your past, but it doesn't have to limit you. And a lot of, I guess, the therapy model is about going and analyzing what's going on, what happened in the past and why things are the way they are. But you get stuck in that analysis, and then you never really go into potential.
Into how to actually create relationships and maintain them and all this. Yeah,
well,
you're right.
Know yourself, basically.
Yeah,
and
know yourself to do that. I had always seen it as, well, it's a medical model, right?
Yeah.
That there's something wrong with you, and therefore we're going to fix it, and you need me to fix it. So that's kind of what went on. Nothing wrong with it, I guess, if you need therapy, because a lot of us have gone through periods where we do need therapy. But for the majority of people, and certainly given the trends and society, and like this article is talking about that, it's not a bad place to be right now. If you're single, there's a lot of opportunities, and things are kind of looking up for you as far as the social trends. We still need a psychology of how do we do relationships now in this new world?
How do we ride the new trend? And if we do want love, how do we make it a choice versus just the programming or the culture telling us what's possible?
Yeah, certainly looking and understanding at our own mind, not only our conscious mind, but our unconscious mind is the key, because it will lead you to, like you say, knowing yourself.
And the self-esteem piece, where people are thinking that marriage is going to give me that self-esteem, or I'm more confident. And, it's really bugs me sometimes too, is that when I see a lot of love coaches out there that are saying that they can help you because they found love. And when I was single, I remember my friends that had met their man. They would be very, it's almost like a condescending, like, oh, you're doing it wrong. And this is what I did. And you have to be this way and you have to be that way. And you just feel like, oh, what's wrong with me? And this idea that if you found a man, you know better. Right. And I could tell you, I did hypnotherapy for 2 years, and I was helping people find love before I met you. So I knew there was a process that I was taking people through versus just me just meeting someone and being an expert in meeting someone. So I want everyone to know that you are really, what you want to do is find out who you are and find that self-esteem within yourself, not base it on whether you're single or not. And when you're on that solid ground, you are more attractive, and you're going to attract someone who's going to reflect that. If you approach a marriage or finding a partner as it's a way to make me feel complete or make me feel more confident or have higher self-esteem, what I could tell you a key factor in knowing that is if you are always are turned off by men who want to be with you and they're chasing you and you think, oh, they're so needy, because they're reflecting back who you are. And so what we want to do is find that internal locus of control, that feeling of power within ourselves. And I think that's what you're talking about. And that's what individuation is.
Yeah. At the end of the day, obviously, we're not saying that either marriage is better than being single or being single is better than being married.
It doesn't make you better or worse. Yeah.
What we're saying is that we want it to be a choice, a conscious choice, not made out of need or conforming to societal norms and trends.
Or family norms, right?
And those expectations from the parents and all those things are good, and they're always going to be there to some extent. But ultimately, in this new psychology, in this new way of understanding relationships, we want it to be a conscious choice made out of you wanting to share your life, your talents, your love with this other person, out of that sheer exuberance of wanting to share something, not out of need, not out of loneliness, not out of expectation, which is it's a radical idea. I don't think it's ever really been played out on this global scale like it's happening now.
What do you think the key is for someone to have that inside of themselves, that kind of power inside of themselves? What do you think is basically where someone can recognize that they're in that place?
Well, it's self-awareness, but what we mean by self-awareness is not just awareness of our personality, because our person, our ego, our persona, as Jung says, is not the totality of us. Now, it's an important piece, obviously, because that's how we relate to people, and in particular in relationships, that's what we see of one another. But the deeper part of us, that what we call spiritual psychology, or that spiritual element in us, that is the true self. And understanding that part of yourself and being in touch with that intuition, with that dreams and that soulfulness in you, that's what's going to really make the difference. And if you're saying, well, I don't know what you're talking about, Dr. Rob.
Yeah, Dr. Rob, what is the ego?
Then your task right now is to find out what that is.
Who you really are.
Yeah. Find out who you are. You hear it cliches in movies, finding yourself, coming of age. Those things are real in the sense that we do need to experience that searching for ourselves. It's got to be a genuine search, and it's got to be a real endeavor on your part to find who you really are and to define that for others. If you don't, then you're more vulnerable to those trends, right? And to fulfilling other people's expectations of what a marriage or what a relationship should be and what it should look like. And you're going by those things. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're not going to be living your true life. You're going to be on the surface.
You know what? I love the distinction that we want to make is that when you say you're discovering your true self, that is a much, very different approach to personal development than I got to heal my past. I got to clear the past. I got to clear my blocks. I got to clear my energy. And to know who you really are, you're really actually reclaiming your power. You're not repairing something broken. And really that's what will get you there faster. That's what you get. And you know what's interesting too, and you and I talk about this a lot, that we have our programs to attract love all the time. And a lot of people, they enter the program and they're like, I want someone, I want to meet someone, I want to meet someone. And then all of a sudden they find their true self. And then they're saying, oh, I kind of found my purpose here and I want to do this first. Right. And the urgency gets taken away. And that's really what you want, where you're saying, I'm choosing love now. I'm not making this, I have 2 weeks, before my 40th birthday and I better find someone or my whole life is over. I mean, we've all been at that place. Maybe it's your 50th birthday. Maybe it's your 35th birthday. It was on my 25th, my 30th, my 35th. I mean, every milestone birthday, it was this urgency. And then when it becomes a choice, that's when everything frees up for you. And you're a desperate person is going to attract desperate people and desperate situations, and someone who's grounded and knows who they really are is going to make a better selection for a partner. Because if you know who you are, you're not going to be attracted to people who don't know who they are, who are confused or inconsistent or non-committal. You'll be finding someone who knows who they are, they know what they want, and when they find you, they know they found you. This is it. This is my girl. No, I don't have to look any further. I'm not in this self-discovery mode myself. How many of you have been on dating someone, and then the person's like, oh, I got to go. I don't know what I want in life, right? And so they're reflecting your own in non-clarity on what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's a great time to be single. It's a great time to be married. It's just a great time to be alive and on the planet. Because we do have these choices. Mm-hmm. But again, we do need to self-reflect and look at our own psychology, our own mind, and understand where we're at and not expect that other person to fulfill our lives.
And when you do that self-reflection, I want you to search within yourself for your potential, not for your problems. What most people have done, and I did for years, that kept me stuck so long, is I kept looking for the problems. Where are my the negative thoughts, or what's in the way, right? Where are my emotions that I haven't dealt with yet, or the hurts from the past that I haven't forgiven everyone. And so, if you look at yourself as this project that needs to be fixed, it's never going to be fixed. But if you see yourself as this beautiful masterpiece that's perfect right now, just not complete, that is how if you use self-develop, and then that's why you won't be, a lot of people say, I'm so exhausted from doing personal development. That's because they're exhausted from being on that treadmill. The misery carousel, as I call it, this carousel of going up and down and, never feeling like they're treading, getting any gains in their life. But if you're coming from, I'm perfect the way I am and I'm discovering more of my power, what a beautiful place to be.
Yeah. The author Paulo Coelho famously said, life is too short to be wasted in finding answers. Enjoy the questions. Really, in the questioning, that's where we find ourselves. And that's what he's talking about. So thank you for tuning in.
It was a great episode. I want to remind you before we go that you can join us in the conversation in our Facebook group community called Creative Love Community. There's a link right on our podcast blog, or you can just go on Facebook and search for Creative Love Community and you'll find us and join the group. And then also, please check out the videos I created. I put a lot of hard work into them, getting a lot of great feedback. Go to attractreallove.com and you'll get the opt-in and you can fill out the form and get a video a day and a free visualization that's going to help you work on your physical attraction, and not in a negative way, but in a positive way. It's all about potential, and it's about how to live your full love potential. And we hope that you really drop the healing salve, see yourself as perfect, and that you're becoming your masterpiece right now.
Awesome.
Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
See you soon.
You've been listening to Creative Love Radio with Debbie and Dr. Rob. For more information, visit us on our website at creativelove.com.